Right, so good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of the day it is for you. I know it's good evening, good morning, good afternoon. It's been a while. And you join me aboard a 2016 Royal Enfield Bullet. Yep, a Bullet, not a classic, a genuine Bullet 500. And you join me trying to work out how far down the road I can get and if I can go the way I want to go. This is not my bike, this is my granddad's bike. He had it from new, and through a set of circumstances has led me to borrow it for the best part of 2 weeks. So I thought, I've got to supposedly give it back tomorrow. My bike will be sorted Saturday, so I should probably be giving this back tomorrow. So I thought, well, I've got a little bit of battery, I've lost the drift battery charger, I've got a little bit of battery, I've got some okayish weather, I've got a route in mind, let's go, let's try and get something. So yes, 500 single, fuel injection, this is a 19, disc on the front, drum on the rear. That's the sort of piece you need to know. Quite a bit of torque and not a lot of horsepower. And anyone that knows me knows I'm a fan of the Himalayan. I'm more of a fan of this. Now this bike is, let's talk about what the Bullet is not. It is not a modern bike. It is not a dual carriageway or motorway miler. It's a bike that has been iterated on just enough to get through emissions inside of Europe over the years, and it's very old school in the ways. There's Quinn Pick's bike, put it this way, there's nothing modern that is like the Bullet. Some would use characterful, and certainly it's a word I use. Now this thing does 70 mile an hour. They claim 123 kph, which is something converted, I don't know. But it will do 70, but it doesn't like doing it for long, and then it backs itself down to 55. I figured that out the hard way. But what it does between 30 and 55, but 55 is a very comfortable cruising speed, is, I don't know if I want to say it enlightens the soul, but there's something about it, it just does what you want it to do. And you have fun. I mean, I'm not obviously thrashing around tonight because the road surfaces are all over the place, but I have been up in the Peak District. I've been over Cat and Fiddle, Ashbourne, Matlock, and I've had a small throwing around session with it. Enjoyed every minute of it. And sometimes you have to work that big single cylinder to make it sing, but my god, when you do it, you're having some real fun. That's why I came this way. Torque, that's this bike's strong point. You can go down to 30 mile an hour It's got a 5-speed box, 30 mile an hour, 4th gear, all day, every day. And I followed Jess up on a CB500X and lost a lot of momentum in places at times. Shook it down to 4th and up you go. This bike is utilitarian in a way. I mean, in India, where obviously Royal Enfield has been for years, it's not uncommon, from what I hear, to see 4 or 5 people on a Bullet. I've heard a lot of people say over the years, you've got to ride a Bullet to understand the Bullet. And I thought they were talking out the backside, but it really, really is the case. I mean, this is all completely standard. I mean, there is a fitting here for a screen that I had to take off. It's got a Triumph rack of some degree on the back, but everything else is standard, and I wouldn't change that. The sound from that long piston with that long, I think they call them pea shooter exhaust, it's just this is what motorcycling is all about. This is motorcycling. Now, don't get me wrong, if this is where the Bullet is suited in the UK. Small roads like this, little B roads, the Peak District. This is a bike that has stood the test of time, and I understand. I don't know how to sum this up. This is probably even not even the best first ride review type thing you've ever see of this bike. I'm not going technical. There's no point getting technical with this bike. You've just got to feel it. So I'm looking forward to getting the CB500X back and having a bike that doesn't matter what I want to do, wake up in the morning, if I want to go down to Loomies or Brighton, up to Leeds, out to I mean, you can take this to Skegness really happily actually, but out to like Norwich, Norfolk. Yeah, I can take that bike. That bike's brilliant for that. Need to do a load of motorway? Great. Need to go and do a load of dual carriageway? Even better. Want to go and play in Matlock? Ooh, that was slippy. Oh. Whew. Drum brake. Whew. That'd have been interesting. Grandad, I've dropped it. And that was his words to me, don't drop it. Oh. Whew. Yeah. Let's get back to it. But yeah, the CB is just that bike, you know, that's there for you every single day. And this will be. But you do have to do a bit of thought, thinking about things. I mean, Quinn rode his Sim 125 from Derbyshire, from Derby to Land's End, down the dual carriageway. Didn't go down the motorway, he's still on L plates. And he said he didn't have to think about the routes on that bike, but with the Enfield, you do. And that's not a bad thing. I don't know, the long and the short is I fucking love this bike and I want one. Be it a classic or a Bullet. I'd love to take this bike on the Saddlebags ride. Round Dartmoor, bloody brilliant. But again, because of distance for me, what's going on that weekend, how quickly I need to be back on the Monday. This bike wouldn't be a suitable vehicle of choice. The CB is. But I understand why people down that way have them. I understand why Saddlebags has his. I mean, this example's got 6,000 miles on it. And it had nearly 6 when I got it. So it's thoroughly run in. But I just... this is under my skin. No bike has truly got under my skin like this. And I'm not even mad that it's done it. I thought borrowing my granddad's 250 Virago, which I've lost the footage for, I thought that bike changed me. Oh no, that just brought me and braced me for a change down to this. And yeah, the things that I do remember is when he not long first brought this. He was running in and we went off and I was on my 125 and I followed him. And that exhaust from behind made me feel... This bike has made me feel like a kid again. And for that, the Bullet, the Classic, any of the 500 singles, well done Royal Enfield. Alright, so here she is in green, 2016 Bullet 500. Long piece shooter exhaust. As I say, got a Triumph rack on it. Don't think what else he's done to it. So the screen usually just clamps onto the handlebars and sits in there. And that's it. I mean, you can see around here it gets a little bit hot, but that's normal. I said single disc and a drum. And then one thing I will point out that I don't understand, mate, it's an Enfield thing. This gearbox is the right way around, so your front brake, your rear brake's down on your right foot and your gear selector's on your left foot. 1 down, 4 up. But the chain's still on this side. Now, I know this one needs cleaning. Needs a good clean. But I don't understand why. Just an Enfield thing, I guess. Air filters obviously on this, in this lock cover. Your toolkit, which is quite extensive, is in there. Battery's there. That's just a little battery charger because the battery's old. Kind of have to plug it in every now and again. And yeah, let's say 6,000 miles. There is a bit of a starting procedure to this bike. You have to wait for the engine management light to go out. Then you can start it. It's to do with the decompression and things. A little bit of a quirk. But I'll pop my visor open a bit. Simple as that. I'll just give it a little blip of throttle. All these switches, being a 2016, the headlight comes on automatically, and considering it's got these two little ones there, my granddad just wired in a little switch that just turned the dip beam off. It was a personal taste thing. That's all that switch is to. And yeah, let's see if I can get a bit of sound. Now, obviously, I know this bike's warm, so I can do this. If you don't get a good sound out of that, just look the sound up for it. There's got to be plenty on YouTube, but it just makes me feel like a kid. And I have done 2 up on this, and as you'd expect with all the torque, it does it no problem. So we'll just spin back round. Oh, and I love the little like shade over the headlight. Just silly little features. The handling is a bit agricultural sometimes, and so is the gearbox, but it's dependable. Ugh. Also, all the little dashboard lights, really hard to see during the day. Neutral light, indicators, main full beam, yeah, all very difficult to see. But again, I think that's quite what I call quintessentially Enfield. And sometimes getting into neutral's a bit of a pain. When idling, if you sat at light, sometimes trying to get into neutral. According to Quinn, his classic 500 is exactly the same. So it must again be one of them Enfield things. I mean, yeah, electric start as you saw, kickstart as well. Quinn's kick-started his up. I have not been able to kick this thing up. But yeah, that's just my sort of thoughts on this bike. And who knows, hopefully in the future, I really hope in the future, I can get my own a Bullet or a Classic. Because I thought I had a soft spot for the Hemi. Nah, I have a huge soft spot for this bike. And as I say, I'd love to do a camping trip. I'd love to do a long trip on it. After locking that back end up on the drum earlier, I'm now extra wary of everything. But yeah, I joked with this bike, didn't take me long, and oh, it's easy. It's easy. Like I say, go and ride a Bullet, go and enjoy it. And I'm going home for my dinner.